The next presentation is from the SDXI TWG. Shamir, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. So SDXI's charter also hasn't changed, but if you are joining the last couple of years, the main thing that we added was some of the software work that we're doing within the group. And if you're new, then SDXI is a memory-to-memory data movement and acceleration interface. So it's interconnect independent and independent of any kind of DMA implementations that you have. So as the standard evolves, the kind of interconnects that it can support will also get evolved. Some of the work that we have completed is that, we had the first proof of concept demo at MemCon last year by a member company, which was a pretty good deal for anyone who saw the demo. And we've also been pretty active at, evangelizing and presenting at various conferences, whether it's the CMS SNIA Summit, the Flash Memory Summit, or the Memory Storage Summit that it's called now. And then the various presentations that we did at SDC. One of them is the preview of what is going to come in version 1.1 of the spec, which you can find here. We also did a panel with the computational storage group about how SDXI and computational storage can get combined, and that's also a pretty interesting discussion that you may want to see. We did a birds of the feather session at the SDSC conference, and we had surprisingly 20 plus feature requests. This is going to be something that we can start funneling and feeding into our work group activities. We also did a presentation at OCP, which really went very well with some of the work that is happening at OCP. So we'll continue to evangelize and show off the work products that SDXI is producing publicly at those events. If you have seen the 1.0, 1.1 is bringing in quite a lot of new exciting features. So if we're not just a memory-to-memory data mover now we are also adding data mover operations that we had promised that we are looking at previously. Some of them notably are like POSIX operations, CRC, diffdix calculation, double copy, and so on. And it has contributions from different companies, from AMD to Dell to Microsoft to ARM, etc. And at the same time, we've also realized that when 1.0 came about, we may not have been completely perfect. That's why we also released an errata specification on making sure that some of the minor errors that we missed about are all there in that errata specification. Our membership is still healthy. We have 22 member companies, 80 plus members. Going to the next slide. So in the software work item that we talked about that we added, one of the main things that we are now doing is a work around something called the libSDXI, which is basically an OS-independent user space library for applications to be able to use an SDXI-enabled system. We are also continuing to enable efforts for SDXI driver on operating systems. A lot of this work is happening outside of SNIA, but you can imagine that the libSDXI work is enabling the driver development. We are also discussing efforts to do a SDXI implementation. This has been one sore point in the sense that we need more volunteers and contributors to it. So if you know of anybody who's between jobs or in universities or doing internships, this is a perfect opportunity to get involved in something that may not be the most business impact for your organization, but has a larger impact in terms of enabling the ecosystem and the community. And we are very, very good at sharing kudos. The second thing is the specification of 1.1 that is going to get released. We still have a few minor items related to security and a connection management architecture that we are working toward to be rationalized within the 1.1 spec. Also, computing environments are supported. Starting with 1.1, we will at least try to work that way through for a single address space scenario. But as you know, SDXI is multiple address space data mover. We're going to try to solve that in the next versions of the spec. Next slide. So we are continuing on this innovation chain. So I'm not going to drill through all the features, but you can realize that there are new data mover operations that need to be standardized. There's new device models, notably the scalable IOV device model that needs to be considered. confidential computing across different address spaces that needs to be worked through. There are various things around how to chain and compound different types of operations, how to resume for different classes of errors, are all part of the mix of consideration here. So if any of these things is of interest to you, also anything that interests you with respect to different kinds of interconnects, please come and talk to us about it. The collaboration with computational storage continues. Something that I would add to what Jason said is that we are looking at a combined architecture in a way that it complements NVMe storage with some of the SDXI operations. And I think that's in a way a win-win for some two really popular standards. The CMS community is going to be something we're going to continue to leverage to evangelize our work. Also, the OCP community is where we will be active in terms of publishing or presenting our specifications and public artifacts at those groups so that they become a little bit more aware about what we are doing. Next slide. So this is the membership that I kind of talked about previously. There are some minuses, there are some additions, and that's pretty typical, as you've heard before, of technical work groups that attain a certain level of maturity. The next slide. So in terms of the participation, you should expect that our impact is going to continue to be around memory-to-memory data movement and transformation. And the original requirement hasn't gone away. And so I think this has just gotten enforced by the fact of the various applications that needed, various environments that needed, various interconnects that needed. So one of the things that the industry segment relevance has increased for us now with the advent of AI is any kind of memory operation that you can do can also be now an AI tensor style operation. So you can think about it that frameworks like PyTorch or TensorFlow might want to use some of the APIs, the live software that we are developing. So I think this is one of the other impetus for having an accelerator standard within SNIA that is so relevant. Want to join and participate, come to join, not just to be in the meeting, but to influence, contribute, and learn from it. With that, this is the contact information that we can be reached at for any information.